Hi there, BookTube. This is Sadie, and I'm trying to figure out how to get better lighting in here. But oh well, we will deal with it as we can. There's also a piece of paper that might flume up. But fluming papers aside, this is going to be the mid-March because March has a lot of books, actually. I don't know what happened, but I'm going to go with it and be very happy about it. So March, reading-wise, I've been doing the March Mystery Madness read-along, or whatever it is, the March Mystery Madness reading. And so far, I have read 7 books. I'm on my way to 8, so I will be doing the first 4 books I read in March in this part, and then I'll do a second part at the end of March. Let me just say March one more time. Okay, the first book I finished, I didn't think, I wasn't 100% sure it was a mystery, but I looked it up, and it is considered a mystery on Goodreads, which has been the bar I've been using, I guess, for what I consider a mystery and what I don't consider a mystery. And so the first book I finished, I read on my Kindle. It was a library book, and it was all Paperback Junkie's wife Zoe's fault. And then I saw it on other booktubes, so I had to read The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. And I've since returned it to the library because, as you do, and you have no choice. And so that was the first one I finished. It is about zombies. Or maybe not zombies, but see, I'm worn out on zombies. That's the thing. I'm not into The Walking Dead anymore. I think I overdid it on zombies. I think everyone's overdone it on zombies because it used to be, it was pirates, then ninjas, then zombies. And I just, no. I don't do any of them because I can't anymore. It's been overdone. But the premise of this is you can bring people who are dead back to life for a certain amount of time. And after 7 days, they die again, never to walk again. And so our main characters, basically we're reading a woman going through this. We're reading the diary of another woman who figured out how to do this. And we're hearing the story of how this came to be. And it's all very intricately woven from several different points of view. It's beautifully written. I enjoyed every second of it. I read it really fast because I was so involved in finding out what was going on and who was doing what. And the premise of how a zombie is created is interesting. And then if they manage to taste blood while they are in the zombie form, they'll never die, which was another interesting premise that was put upon the book. And so it's a mystery thriller, and it was beautiful. It was wonderfully written. It had just the right amount of gore. Not a lot of gore, a little bit of gore, and it kept me guessing, which can be a bit hard at times because, you know, I guess well, I guess. So if you're into mystery thrillers that have multiple viewpoints that go back in time and come back, that jump around a lot, and new mythologies about older ideas, which I really find interesting, like reworking a vampire or reworking a werewolf or redoing how those come to be and what structures they have to follow. So this book, yeah, I'm probably gonna go buy it. It was one of those books where I read it and I was like, I need to own this because I might want to read it again, and that very rarely happens with mystery thrillers, so that was exciting. And Kachansky is coming. Kachansky the cat. She's actually not gonna get anywhere. Nope, 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 nope. Big old pile of nope there. She's like, but there's all this yarn in my way. Then next, down, down. The cat interlude, I'm sure, is very enthralling for you. I might edit it out. I might not. Who cares? Next up, I read The Chalk Man by C.J. Tudor, which has been running around YouTube for quite some time. And it was my December 2017 Book of the Month Club. And I was really looking forward to this. I really wanted to love this. You have no idea how much I wanted to love this, and I hated it. It was boring. I figured out what was going on halfway through. It read like Stephen King, who I'm not a big fan of, but not even a good Stephen King. It's like they stole part of the plots from it and tried to make it work with chalk. And then you've got an albino man in there for no purpose except to serve as a decoy or a let's throw it onto him. It was real poor representation of other voices, I guess. I don't know. I didn't appreciate how they used an albino person. She, whatever, the author. And it's not a big book. There were 4 or 5 different storylines going on that didn't need to be in there because we have this group of friends, right? So we have a group of friends back in the day, which I believe is the 80s, and then they flash forward to now, and they're trying to solve the mystery of the Chalk Man, which was apparently a man who went around killing people. Guess what? Spoilers, by the way. Spoilers on this, if you haven't read it. So, we have a group of boys with a girl. The girl's clearly being abused. We know this right from the get-go. The boys don't have the best family life. There's a dog death that doesn't need to be in there. There is absolutely no purpose of moving the plot along with that. I felt it was egregious to include it because I don't like animal violence, but if you're going to put animal violence in there, at least have it mean something. Like, it meant nothing to the story except to throw a decoy. And there's so many red herrings, and like, I think the author could get somewhere. I think as a first novel, this has some promise that we're going to get something good out of it. But in the end, I guessed everything halfway through. I was plodding along. I didn't like the characters. I felt them completely trite. And the mystery isn't really a mystery, and we get everything wrapped up and explained in a tight little bow, and then the twist at the end that's supposed to be the masterful twist at the end is not a twist at all. It's just annoying. So, I don't know. If you like Stephen King, you might like it because it's like Nerf Stephen King, but it's not done well, so maybe you wouldn't like it. I honestly don't know who this book is written for in terms of who will enjoy it, but it wasn't me. So it's gonna go away. That's where it's going. Then I read Emma in the Night, which was another Book of the Month club, because apparently all my Book of the Month clubs are thrillers or horror or something like that. Actually, I've got a couple that aren't, but I was really wanting to get to these books, and they hit the mystery genre. So this was from September. It's by Wendy Walker. And this one, okay. So I was all set to hate it by the midway through, and in the end I loved it, and here's why. So you've got a story about 2 teenage girls that go disappear on a beach. They leave the car, no one knows what's going on, all of a sudden they're just gone, and they never find any bodies. 3 years later, one of them shows up, and all hell breaks loose. And what you expect to happen, or what I expected to happen, so the plot moves forward that Emma is not the one who returns. Emma is still being captured by these people, so to speak. And she's had a baby, and that's why she can't leave, and there's all this convoluted stuff, and we're trying to find her, and she's in the middle of nowhere, and this is all taking place off the coast of Maine, and it's very cinematic, and we've got upper crust people who don't really like talking to each other. We have blended families that don't really blend well, who are perhaps engaging in flowers in the attic behavior, and what you expect. So I was like pretty bored like halfway through. I was like, okay, so the mystery has been solved. There's no mystery anymore. Why am I reading this? And then by the end, there's like this twist that comes out of nowhere and just slams you in the face, and it keeps pummeling you further and further. Like, this book was supposed to suck, and in the end, I think I gave it 4 stars. I would read this again because I enjoyed it. The writing can be a bit clunky, but the more I read, the more I enjoyed. And I don't usually like it when there's psychology people involved, because they try to steer you in a way. And this book does have a person who's psychological, and her backstory is kind of useless. Like, I don't understand why we need to know that her mother had narcissistic personality disorder and this mother might have narcissistic personality disorder, and all she sees is mirrors between the two, and it's really like, that is my one qualm with the book, is that it had too many things going on in some spots that didn't need, like, that were needless. However, I really enjoyed the twists and turns. So, definitely a decent read. And the last one I'm going to talk to you about in my halfway mark video, whatever you want to call this, is not a mystery, but I started it in February and I finished it in March, and that would be my Drop Cap Penguin edition of Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I am reading through these because my husband has been buying them for me. It started while he was deployed and he continues to get them for me, so I have the alphabet and I'm on D. I'm going to be skipping E because E is George Eliot, and that's Middlemarch, and I read that last year. And I don't feel the need to go through it again, so I'll be jumping straight to F, which is Flaubert, Madame Bovary. So this is one of the few Dickens I have never read. I read David Copperfield previously, I read Oliver Twist previously, I read A Christmas Carol, all of these for a Victorian literature class I took in university, and I hated them all. A Christmas Carol I suffered through and I was okay with that, but Oliver Twist and David Copperfield both, I loathed. I loathed them. The passive protagonists who just keep getting shit on and do nothing about it just bugged the bejesus out of me. The man needs an editor. This one I didn't hate as much. I still felt Pip to be a passive protagonist, which seems to be what Dickens loves writing about. And the twist I saw coming. Of course, I'd seen the South Park episode that basically wraps this up in a tiny little bow. I have not seen any of the movies that have been based off of it. Everybody knows Madame Defarge, everybody knows Pip, everybody knows this basic story that he falls in love with Estella, and yada yada yada, sis boom ba. But all in all, it was the least crappy Dickens I have read. Having said that, I still don't like Dickens. But I read it. It was one of my big books. It's my March fatty. Because I'm trying to read one over 500 pages each month, and this one qualified, coming in at like 500 and some. Yeah, 580. It also has the alternate ending, because apparently 2 endings were written for this one. And yeah, love reading these books. This Dickens was okay. I'm not going to say anything amazing about Dickens. I don't like him. I'm a Bronte all the way. Also don't like Austen. How's that for some controversial statements? So this is my halfway point for March, and I will see you at the end of March with the last roundup of books that I've been reading. Bye!